Thanks for making it.
It's a pleasure, always a pleasure. Santé-san, Santé-san.
Thank you, especially in the evening. A person like you, we know you're very busy. And for your product, this is like a selling time.
It is indeed, it is.
Because your sales start maybe from 4 onward, it's when people start enjoying. But I would like to thank you. So pretty much for a quick introduction, this is Martin. So we have the series of events. So Corporate Unwind, it's more of we are bringing corporate in order to inspire other corporate as well as startups. Yeah. And feel free. This is a conversational story. Pretty much we want to hear from you. And again, we have people online. Pretty much they will be joining us via audio while the team is working on the video part. But surely we'll record it 100% and then continue with other things. And then this is our audience. So just to go directly to the point is, we want to know who is Jose? Just in a in a short story.
Okay. Thank you for having me here. It's a pleasure. Thank you for receiving us. In a nutshell, Jose is Jose or Jose, or Jose, which is the right pronunciation in Spanish, in the language. I'm Ecuadorian. I'm from Ecuador, South America. I have the pleasure to lead Tanzanian Breweries. I have already been working here in Tanzania for 1 year and a little bit. I arrived last year in July 2011. I have already close to 11 years in the continent. So now working in Tanzania. Before that, I was working in Zambia. Before that, in Mozambique. So very, very experienced around what I would say is Africa, Sub-Saharan, and the different markets. And yeah, that's me. I have 15 years in the group doing beer. That's what I know to do. I'm very passionate about that and having the opportunity to be with you today.
Thank you very much. And since you said you have more than 10 years plus in Africa, continent, and in Tanzania for 1 year. So in terms of leadership, because that's actually what we want to learn more from you, we really want to understand your leadership style. Especially right now, we have different type of generation. We have back in the days, the oldies, millennials. Now we have Generation Z and things like that. Yeah, what is the kind of leadership in terms of all these generations on your side?
Well, it's quite unique because I was groomed by a generation that today is retiring. Now let's say I'm in the middle of that generation. I'm 42, so I'm not old, but I'm not young, okay? And now I have a lot of people that is reported to me that is my same age or younger, and I would say they are the millennials. But also what we're seeing is that already there are centennials that are consumers, those that have already reached more than 18 years old, that are above the legal drinking age. So it's quite a range of people, consumers, customers, people that you interact. And I have to say that leaders today, we have to accommodate our style to the people that we are leading and to the culture of, in this case, for example, Tanzania, the country where we're operating. And especially for me, being an outsider, a foreigner, is very fulfilling, very enlightening, but I learn a lot, and I have to adapt my leadership in a way that I don't compromise my values, my principles, my very high standards, but I do it in a way that, for example, needs to be very inclusive. Something that I have learned about working in Africa and working in other countries is that the concept, for example, of Ubuntu, let's do it all together, is very strong. Rather than, for example, I study in Spain, I lived for 2 years in Canada. The Anglo-Saxonic world is very individualistic and it's very me. So leading in that way will not work here. Okay, so that's kind of what I have learned, how you need to adapt around that. But something that we try to do, which is not just my style, is the culture of the business I represent, of TBL. We want to create a lot of ownership. Because if we really make our people feel owners of the business, although they might not own not even one share, but if they really feel the owners of the place they're working and they love the brand, they love the culture, they love what they do, they're definitely going to make better decisions. They're going to do their job with more passion. And even when that's the moment to give the extra mile, it will come naturally. So the difference is around that word that is ownership. Very easy to say, sometimes difficult to achieve.
That's great. And actually, because we understand TBL as a whole is a public trading company, and our audience, most of them, they're startups, which they're looking to raise and also maybe one day to become, a public traded company. So due to that, how do you motivate your team, internally, but at the same time you motivate the investors?
Okay, let me start first with the team. So definitely, we have this concept around dreaming big. So we always show ambitious. We're never satisfied with our results and what we do. Our previous CEO, global CEO, always used to say that it takes the same amount of energy to dream small or to dream big. So why would you dream small? Always dream big. Always have that ambition. And that is something that whenever we're setting targets, whenever we are setting our goals, sometimes we stretch ourselves. And it's amazing to see when you create this ownership that people really stretch themselves to reach it. But of course, you need to create the right incentives, reward them accordingly based on their talent. We promote a lot of people from within. We are a company that we like to promote and grow our people. We believe a lot around meritocracy, so it's around the merit of what you do. We don't believe in tenure. So for example, we are not a business where you see that you're going to get promoted because you have X amount of years in the position. Actually, if you have a lot of years in the position and you have not moved, it's already a red flag for us. Because we always want to see people that are moving, that are achieving. So that's the way of how we keep our people motivated, by making sure that they're a right cultural fit, but also creating the right incentives, and how pushing by stretch and ambitious goals of dreaming big. And I guess that having that culture as a business is what you see in the market. Is great results, a company that is growing. Especially we have made a big transformation, especially in the last 18 months around TBL. And I hope that is something that is seen in the market today, that we want to be present with the consumer, creating better experience, consumer experience. We have launched 4 innovations in the last 12 months. We never launched one innovation in 7 years, and in 12 months we launched 4, because we want to keep bringing new news, being fresh, giving our audience, our consumers what they want. So I guess that investors, people that are looking for attractive businesses in Tanzania, should be looking at us, because we are not just providing growth for today, but growth for the future, because we're catering for future needs. And talking about entrepreneurs and small investors, I go back to my first point around dreaming big. It's, guys, you have nothing else, just your dream. That's where you start, and your dream is what is going to give you that passion to achieve it, and you need to keep resilience, you need to keep persistent, you need to be sometimes have hard skin to learn to receive no's, to be people shouting glory in your face, but not give up, because you will do it. But all starts by dreaming big. And also something that I say a lot in these type of forums When I arrived to Africa, I arrived here to stay 2 years, and I'm already 11. Okay, and the reason why I stayed is yes, I fall in love with the continent, with the different countries that I have lived, with the people, but I love something about the people, and it's my mission to help change. The first time that I heard this concept, TIA, you all know what is TIA. This is Africa. It's a very negative concept that is used by some group of people when we complain about something is not working. But the first time that I got here, I was in a very nice forum, and I saw presented to me this concept as totally the opposite. This is the land of opportunity. It's where the growth is where we have these huge and very fast, rapid urbanization rates, where we have the biggest concentration of youth, which also means the biggest concentration of perhaps innovation, creativity. So going back to the entrepreneurs, dream big because you are in the right space. There are other markets that are already saturated. So let's make sure, working together, and that's why also we as ABB were trying to support you. It's to generate more, and we have this responsibility to take our country, to take our people to the next level. But you're lucky because you're living in a time when there's a lot of opportunities that probably your fathers didn't have. But today technology really has democratized the access to knowledge. And that is something that you need to take a big advantage.
And you spoke about now the ABB TBL, the sparkling into innovation. Actually, I remember when TBL, ABB launched the 100 Accelerator Plus. Everyone is excited, but they didn't get to understand. Maybe now they can hear from you as how is ABB now tapping into innovation, including the consumer experience on top of it, and what are the opportunities which maybe startup they can tap in to drive the partnership.
So for example, the Accelerator 100 was an initiative that we launched with you, thank you for that, to Smart Codes. And it was the second year that we were participating, at least as the African countries that are part of ABB. This is not something new for the group, but it was new for the region. And I believe that we're still in baby steps. Basically, this is a contest where we invite several types of startups, small business. They need to be less than 3 years old. They need to be like in the incubation phase, where we encourage them to submit a business case. There's a local, then an international panel that goes through the submissions. And then at the end, they all compete to get an initial funding, capital seeding of $100,000 to each winning business. And we choose them based on the type of idea that they're selling. Usually, the projects are linked to sustainability problem, okay, to address an issue that we have in the market. So it's not necessarily around businesses related to our core business, which is selling beer. It's more around different aspects. I'm happy to say that the first project that we launched with you was very successful around the number of applications. We have around 48 Tanzanian applications compared to the year before, where I believe we only have 2. Of those 48, 2 have only got to the final stage, okay, and which still is a very small number compared to and now we're waiting to see if any of them made it to be a winner, because we have a number of limited winners across the globe. But I wanted to say is that actually we're gonna do this again next year, and we really need to get 100 applicants, so we can get at least 10 or 15 Tanzanian entrepreneurs that can make it. And what I say is that the world is looking at this continent. This is not just because we wanted to make it sound beautiful. It is true. Everything that if you open the big and most important economic newspapers, all the stories that report, the future is here. And therefore, we have seen great examples of great talent. We just need also the people to believe it and keep motivating business cases, keep motivating stories of success, and you will get the support, and we're willing to do it. As I said, from 48 applications that actually made it, okay, then 2 went to the final round, we're still waiting. It's a huge step, but definitely we need to dream bigger, isn't it?
Yeah, very true. And I'm glad you highlighted that there will be another opportunity for season 3 for 100 Accelerator Plus, which now bring another question in terms of right now, based on your industry, what's the biggest challenge facing the industry? Because you see for innovators and startup and business people, always they are key to solve a certain challenge. You know, we call it problem, but for them they call it challenge. So what may be a kind of main things which are facing the industry? Pretty much maybe it will be a sparkling for the innovators and business people to come up with something.
I do believe that there's many, okay? For example, one key issue around that is renewable energy. How we can start moving away from costly sources of energy today, especially what we're seeing with the cost of fuel, where it's going, and the cost of commodities going up, especially because of the war in Ukraine and Russia. So renewable energy is something super important. Recycling. Recycling, it's a big area where we definitely don't have the solutions. There's even areas that we have not really started tapping, but gender diversity and inclusion. It's also an area where we need to start thinking about how we can really create equality around our society, just to mention a few things. So those are, I rather say, rather than TBL problems, I believe there are society problems, community problems, and because we're part of the community, we're part of the society, they also become our problems. Because there are problems that our employees are facing, there are problems that our consumers are facing. Just to mention a few areas, and there are much more where we definitely need to work. Carbon footprint. Actually, I was lucky that a month ago I was in a different forum, and there was also a group of MBA students that were presenting their sustainable project, and one of them was around how to reduce the use of charcoal, which is a big problem not just in Tanzania, in the whole continent. So more and more, it's really climate change is a problem. So a lot of the thought, the most brilliant minds in the world should be putting their passion, their heart, and their minds around how we're going to solve this issue.
And of course, due to that, it means it's opening up in terms of different opportunity which impacting community as a whole, not necessarily to be solving a product which is around the brand for the TBL and the yeah. So you see, you have done a lot. You know, we say you've been in Africa for more than 10 to 11 years in the country, but you still look young, really young. So that means your career ladder have been growing very fast. Is there anyone which you have been looking up to? Some sort of like a mentor, someone maybe from the relative part of whatever, so that like it's actually sparkling you when you walk up, so like, I want to be like this person and even more, you know. So who is this person, or maybe what is your style around that?
Okay. I am a strong believer that across our life, as an individual and also as an executive or entrepreneur or whatever we choose to do, we have not one, we have different mentors.
Yeah.
Of course, there's things that when I was a kid, my mentor was my father and my mother. And I would say that my mother even played a bigger role than my father, because my father was not all the time in the house, in my case. Then when I was growing and getting into the corporate world, I have great, I have very lucky, I have great line managers, my bosses, that were great coaches. I learned a lot. Believe it or not, my first boss was a female, and I learned a lot from her. she learned a lot from me. So it's also that sharing that is this mentor way, it goes both ways. And still goes today. And today, the same way that now I'm in a leadership position, I have had great people that have taught me a lot of things, what to do and also what not to do. Because I also saw bad habits that I say, I don't want to really copy this. When I get there, I want to behave differently. I learned a lot from my peers. I learned a lot from my direct reports. And I learned a lot from the common people in the state when I get to engage. I guess that you never learn, you never stop learning. So it's hard for me to say one or two names because there have been many people, but I guess that everybody has a different formula.
And I mean, on that style, which most of us, it's actually, we're very keen in terms of our managers and of course even departments, on these lessons from the mentors or from the partner. Have you been the one more of waiting for someone to teach you something, or for someone to learn something, or you have been more of teaching them, or something in between?
Okay, so one of the things that I have learned is that we can never wait. So I'm always the one that makes the first move, and I believe when it comes to career development, career management, it's always the person that owns that accountability. Remember, ownership. I own my growth. But what I have seen is that when you show this hunger for learning, you show this willingness to go and do more and to develop yourself, there's always other people that will receive that in a positive way and they're willing to teach. It's easier to teach when you see that there's a fertile soil, isn't it? So I guess that has been, especially, I believe that helped me a lot. I was very curious when I was younger and started my career. And I always wanted to do more, ask for more. And today I'm still, I would say that today I'm still curious, but I have got into a stage of my career that is no longer about my curiosity, it's more how I incentivize the curiosity of my team. So now, at the beginning probably I was the one that was asking more. Today my role is less asking and more listening.
Yeah. Due to that, just to wrap up for the first session, just to add on top of that, since now you have learned and you have teach and things like that, today we are hosting you, yeah? So everyone here, we really want to learn from you. So what are the biggest, maybe 2 or 3 lessons which you can give to us and share with the young leaders of today and tomorrow, so that at least it can be sticking into their head in order for them to hear the picking words from you?
It's a big responsibility to answer that, but I have to say that, as I said, dream big. Remember what I said, that it takes the same amount of energy to dream small and dream big. So always aim for high. Be humble, huh? Be humble, stay humble, stay grounded. That is very important. Doesn't matter how high you are, how much success. You need everybody around you. We have one mouth, but 2 ears. So sometimes it's more listening than talking. But when you talk, walk the talk. Be consistent in what you say, because people will respect you about that. And definitely, once again, I mentioned at the beginning, I really like this concept around Ubuntu. That is very important here in our African community. It's the power of doing things together. It's very strong, and I really have seen it. A lot of the good things that we have in the company today, the good results that we're doing, it is because of the power of mobilizing people by doing things together.
That's I think, those are notes taken, and pretty much we're going to continue pushing it as a main talk. And I think the most important thing, as you say, you own the talk, and of course you demonstrate around it. Yeah. Just due to time, let me just connect it. We have learned with the team, of course, later we'll let them ask the questions. But also we want to get the fun part of you. That's Jose, as Jose. So as entrepreneurs, many, we call them their early birds, their night owl. There are some people working things in between. There are other people like after lunch they just want to sleep, So for you, are you an early bird or you are a night owl?
When I was younger, I was definitely a night owl, and part of my job was always to be out and socializing. I still do that, but I have to say that I have become an early bird. That's also I enjoy it. I start very early in my day. Thanks to my wife, I like running, so I have to get into more of the sports. So that forced me to start early, and therefore we end the day a little bit early also.
Okay, so in the morning when you wake up, you start the journey by activating your body?
by running, walking, jogging, and doing gym. I go very early to the office. I really enjoy being there before anybody. I know it puts some pressure on the team. But then I also leave earlier than that. And I'm a true believer around outputs, deliverables, rather than the time that you spend.
I understand. I can see she's like seeing a lot of emails before you wake up. I mean, yeah. So due to that, then if you are an early morning person, then typically what is your breakfast or lunch or whatever? What's your main meal which actually fuel your energy to deliver the day?
Okay, I'm a little bit a crazy person, so I don't have breakfast except by coffee because I do something that is called intermittent fasting. So I start the last time of the day when I eat is 7 p.m. and I only break my fast the next day at 1 p.m. So I have 18 hours that I don't eat. Okay, that's part of routine. I only break it during the weekends. So I have to say that therefore my biggest meal is a little bit between the lunch, and that's why I also leave early because I have an early dinner. So lunch and dinner, sometimes I mix them, and that's my important meal of the day. I'm not a breakfast person.
And see, that's why your body looks fit. You really manage your food intake. So due to that, as you said, you early in the morning you're doing the gymming and things like that. But sometimes we need to put the work aside and engage yourself in sports. Either we watch or we play. So what are your favorite kind of sports which activate you?
Of course, being a South American is soccer, football, as we call it. I'm actually very happy that we're getting close to the World Cup. I also know that here in Tanzania, soccer is also big. I no longer play. I have some injuries, so no longer have the ability to play. But I love watching. Soccer has been my passion. I used to play it when I was a kid. So it's something I really like sports, but I don't follow any sports. But soccer is the only one that I really follow and is my passion.
But you used to play before?
I used to, yes.
Okay. So as you say, sports, it's what activates you.
So today, the only sport that I do is really running or running.
So, and mostly, then now when you want to activate your mind, you already activate your body through sports. So to activate your mind, where do you draw out your motivation in course? Is it from the book, from TV, or from whatever series, and what are those?
Well, I never disconnect, so like that concept of activating doesn't. But I have to say that I draw my energy from people. So I like to be with people and interacting with people, so that really energizes me. But if I have to think a little bit like a hobby, something that relaxes me and centers me, I used to read a lot, and actually I read the questions that you sent me ahead of time, and I have to be very honest and share something with you. Since the last 4 years, I've really reduced a lot my amount of reading books, and it's just because of Netflix. Netflix really has changed that behavior.
So you watch the documentaries parts, not the movie? Or
Not really, because actually I watch everything. I watch, my wife, she always gets a surprise and she said, how in the world you can watch this that is so, like, let's say, bad quality? And I said, because it's fun. It's like, help me forget about the problems at work or the stress. And then she said, no, but watch something more like thoughtful, that is a documentary.
Yeah.
I watch everything from romantic comedies to horror movies to Marvel movies to kids movies. I watch everything.
Just on technology part of the Netflix, so like how many minutes do you use to search to decide like you're watching something? Because you see statistics show a lot of people are wasting time to search in order to decide, because everything based on the algorithm.
Well, that's very interesting actually. I do believe that now because there's a lot of options and I say Netflix, but it's not just Netflix. There's a lot of these on-demand platforms, Hulu, HBO, Disney Plus, and all these. But I have to say, unfortunately, that I'm using more than the time that it really deserves, probably because of the amount of feed that you get. But thanks God, I have my wife. She's now sometimes the one that decides for me. So it's making it easy.
She's the one managing the remote.
Oh yeah. If you want to think I'm the managing director of TBL, but is somebody managing me? She is. To be very honest.
I got it. And of course, since you have come outside of Africa, that means you have visited different countries. Now, actually, you are in Tanzania. It's not like we are promoting Zanzibar, but what have been your favorite destination across the world which you have visited, or maybe you are planning to visit?
Okay, it would be really, really unfair to say that I have a favorite place in the world, because there's so many amazing places. Yeah. And this is not because I'm sugarcoating it to you, because I am in Tanzania, but you have a beautiful country, huh? Yeah, really, really, you are blessed. I do believe that actually we should take more advantage of it. Okay, we don't yet communicate too much to the world how amazing it is. And I would say that in my top 3 destinations, Zanzibar is number 1. So if you really think, I have been here already, a month and 1 year and 2 months, so that is 14 months. I have already been in Zanzibar at least 10 times. So that's quite a good amount of time. But I also love the safaris. I have been in the Kilimanjaro. We're planning to climb the Kilimanjaro.
You have not climbed it yet?
Not yet.
But you went to Ngorongoro, Serengeti?
We have been. I'm not yet fit to go for 6 days on mountain climbing. So now I also love a lot of, I love the continent, so I really like, for example, Maputo, Mozambique is a beautiful place, the Victoria Falls in Zambia, Cape Town, so beautiful, beautiful places. And I believe this area of the world is an amazing place.
So now, as you see, the digital lifestyle and the digital is what's actually controlling most of our time. And most of the people also, they are glued, especially on their phone, on the digital TV, like you said, most of the time you're spending on Netflix. So what are your main favorite apps, maybe for work and for your own self, either entertainment or health or anything in between?
Okay. From an app's perspective, if we're talking personal, I do believe that Instagram is where I spend a lot of time, but because I use Instagram to understand things. First of all, I read the news from Instagram. I also use it, especially I have some filters that help me understand what is going on. For example, here in Tanzania, since I don't speak Swahili, it's difficult for me to find things, so Instagram helps me to find and see at least visually what people are doing, where they're going out, where they're hanging out, what are parties and events. It helps me understand how many times our brands are being mentioned or not. Also the competitor brands. So I really use Instagram personally to, of course, talk to my friends, share my life, but for work. And then from a work perspective, it's also This is our B2B, B2C application for living bed. We recently launched in Tanzania, and it's quite a success. It's an app where our retailers, bars, restaurants, or our customers can place orders to receive our products. So it's quite.
It's already launched?
It's already launched. We're already 4-6 months of, in the market, and it's already 40% of our total revenues as a country is coming from this, which is an amazing KPI. And we could think that in Africa, digital is going to take a long time. It's not true. Digital is already a reality.
And just for the interest of that app for us to know more. So how does the people and the marketers and the shopkeepers actually accept that app based on the culture which we are?
It was very interesting. We were, I wouldn't say skeptical, but of course, every change takes its time. It's something that really got a lot of traction during the pandemic when we launched the first time bees in Latin America. So we started in Dominican Republic, then we went to Mexico, Brazil. Now we have it in 17 countries. We started in South Africa 2 years ago, and only this year we decided to go live in Tanzania and now in Uganda. And it has really been accepted very well. We thought that the consumer would not understand or would be embarrassed to use it. But especially East Africa is very digitalized. People are very used to use mobile money and very used around very technology. Even everybody has a phone. Perhaps it will not be a smartphone, but they have a phone. And we're very happy also because the application solves a lot of pain points. And again, to entrepreneurs, if you want to develop technology, don't develop technology just for the sake that I create an app. First, focus on a consumer need. What problem that a consumer and that a customer has, I can solve, and then the app, the application will sell alone. And in this case, for us, for our business, we have issues around communication, how retailers could place an order, how they will know that the order will arrive on time, how we communicate around the order. It's not going to be in full because we are out of stock of something. They can control the pricing, know that they're being charged fairly the price that is a recommended price. So we have really solved a lot of things. We're still developing these, and that's the reason why it is growing, it is working. But if the app would not address a problem or a need, then probably would not work.
Actually, I think that's the very biggest lesson for our entrepreneur, saying that it's not just an app, but it should be something which solves a certain problem and to bring impact, and then the app can be just an infrastructure through that. Yeah, so I think that's an interesting area. So pretty much maybe during the questions or any other time, we'll dive more so that we can learn through that, so that our builders can see how we can do some other things on top of that. So just to bring you into the fun part, because I say you know how to handle the mic very well. So what are your favorite music? Or maybe you want to sing, but what is your favorite music?
I love rock.
Rock?
I'm an oldie, but rock from the 80s and the 90s, that's my music.
Okay, so right now the Amapiano, bongo flavor is not kicking in.
Unfortunately, no. I will dance it.
Oh.
I will dance it because it's what my team loves.
Yeah.
Actually, the other day we were in a sales conference, and I heard this. It's not a new song. It's Furha. It's really nice. And I was singing with the team, and they were asking me, "Do you know the song?" I said, "No, but it's nice." So I will follow. But it's not my music, but I love socializing. So if there's something that people help make people happy, which is music, of course I would like it.
Yeah, I see the Fura music, it's because it's also delivering some KPIs from your brand. So you have to love it. So just the last one now, based on that, I see you're more of you're involved in with the team, to learn through it, and of course then to learn from your part. What does it make like a good day at work for you?
The best day at work will be the day that I don't have any Zoom meeting. So that will be the best day, but unfortunately,
I don't think
almost never happens. No, I would say that a day where I got the opportunity to interact with people, I have to say that I'm very lucky because I have a great team, and I always said that I don't really work very hard. I work very hard to get where I am, and now my job is just to make the others work hard. But to get rid of obstacles and think about the future. I always keep telling guys, you are thinking about how now we're starting our quarter 4 and December peak, and I say, guys, I already my mind is already in 23 and 24, understanding the capacity, what is the next brand that we're going to launch. So when I have the time to do that and to think, it's a good day at work, and to make sure that the team is everybody working in harmony. I need to create time to listen to people. That's critical. The day that I don't interact is a day that at the end is lost in some way, and it's not always possible. Sometimes we have so many Zooms that we are sitting in our desk and we don't even talk to anybody. But that's a bad day. Actually, the day that you get to talk, you learn something, understand something new, it's a day that is very valuable.
I think, just to wind up, for me, the biggest thing I've learned from you today is it's mostly part of, as a leader, you put a lot of time into listening so that you can understand. But the other keywords which you keep repeating is thinking big. You know, thinking big and think ahead, so that if you think big, that means strategically you can achieve and see things which are coming and trying to find the solution for today. Yeah, so thank you very much. I think we have been doing a lot of talking. As you say, we also, as a leader, we need to put time and listen. Maybe pretty much if we can listen from the audience, if they have any question for you, so that we can continue to learn from your side.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Okay, greetings. My name is Mpoki Thompson, Managing Editor for the Citizen newspaper. Thank you, Jose, for a great session. I just wanted to get a bit of insight in terms of the role of innovation, because we've talked about innovation quite a bit, and we understand that we have quite a number of startups here. Something which is pertinent to how TBL operates, I'm going to talk a bit more on specifics, specifically the ETS system. So we understand what ETS stands and what it means for your business as a manufacturer. And we also understand that TBL has its own innovation called the blockchain innovation, which is similar to TRA's electronic tax stamp. Now, this innovation, I was talking recently to the TSA president, the Tanzania Startup Association, and he told me that we have Tanzanians who are making similar innovations here. Now, I don't know the provenance of TBL's blockchain, which I hope you're going to explain to us. But what is the role of innovation in sectors that are not traditionally tech-based, or sectors that we, in the past, wouldn't think that they would now need innovation? Because when you talk about breweries back in the years, and now, you know, the top 10 manufacturers in Tanzania are spending over 100 billion sending it to SIGPA in Switzerland. Yet that's an innovation, something that could be featured or given to a local entrepreneur in Tanzania. So just give us a sense of what are the opportunities, the low-hanging fruits in terms of innovation in your space, in your sector, and how can now Tanzanian innovators and startups also, you know, get on board in terms of that?
Thank you. It's quite a comprehensive question. It has different angles that I can choose to answer. But let me try to split it in at least into 2 parts. So innovations as a whole, I do believe that I already gave, for example, I mentioned around this. This is something that we introduce. It's an application. It's using technology to connect our operations with our retailers, and yet we are still thinking how we also can connect to consumers. that part we still have not reached. We first need, we need to start getting better around what we call business to business, but there's also an opportunity around business to consumer. Okay, that's one example, and I do believe that innovations, there's a lot of room for innovation as long as we choose to address what I said, a consumer problem, because then it's sustainable. Okay, and then definitely businesses are going to be more and more willing to invest when they see that this innovation is not because it's fashionable or trendy, it's because it really will be sustainable and add value in the long term. On the ETS, so ETS is a big problem. ETS is a big cost for manufacturers, and actually we're paying for now because it's a solution that actually is a digital stamp. In our case, because we have very fast lines, production lines. But if you talk to small manufacturers, it's actually a manual stamping of paper into a product. What we're trying to do right now, and we are working on a pilot, it's actually blockchain is not our technology. Blockchain is the technology available everywhere. It's like an open source type of software. It's not a software really. It's what cryptocurrencies are. So the importance around blockchain is really around allowing traceability, and traceability that cannot be changed. That's the most important thing. So it cannot be corrupted, it cannot be changed to benefit somebody, like corruption cases and things like that. We are right now working with the government in two angles. One, to prove them that the cost of ETS today is exorbitant. And whoever they choose to keep providing that service should be an open tender, should be even more than one player, because if there's competition, there is going to be different pricing, and the pricing needs to be reduced significantly, because the price that we pay compared to other markets is 80-90% more expensive for nothing, because there's no value add, there's nothing that they're doing. That's the first angle. But then, and that's the short-term one, where we want to really address a reduction, which is a reduction that is going to benefit the industry and the end consumer. Okay. The second, that is a more mid-term solution, is government. You don't need, convince the government that they don't need a third party from anywhere. And that's why we are proving them that the blockchain technology works. But we sell beer, we don't sell technology. So we have zero interest in to start developing systems and applications to get into this business. We just wanted to showcase that it can be done, that the same information that they're capturing through the system that they have today can be do through a blockchain application, which could be developed by anybody. Actually, entrepreneurs today should be interested, because that would be a very good tool that you can give to TRA, and they can control these. And imagine, it's not just TBL. We are more than, I don't know how many companies are paying excise through tax stamps, but there's all of it. You say it's a lot of money, okay? But our position, once again, is we are paving the way to open the eyes that there are other solutions. But the opportunity to develop which solution, which app, it's still open. And we're going to be very happy to see, for example, if that is taken by a Tanzanian company. Because at the end, it needs to stay here. Makes no sense, the model that we have today. I don't know if I answered your question.
Thank you very much. I think you answered it in very detailed, including technical and general, and actually got to learn in terms of how blockchain is being used on the stamping, again, as you recommend. Pretty much it's just to find a way how we can make that money and technology stays here rather than importing every stamp outside there. And it's not just for TBL itself, it's across many other industry, and that's an opportunity. So, yeah.
Merci. So, Jose, in this forum, I don't know you. Just asking the audience. So I just wanted to check, like, maybe what kind of advice do you have for people, for the youth starting opportunities exist around innovation for TBL?
Thank you, Jose. I believe that the best way to start is through the accelerator 100, which we already, actually one of the things that we need to do is perhaps also touch base with those cases that were not selected to understand if there's something interesting. We're going to do, again, in 2023, the same process. So that's the best way because there's always good ideas, and sometimes what they lack is the platform for them to become visible, to become that somebody becomes aware of them. But definitely, I have to say that mea culpa as a business, we need to do more of these forums, because this is the only way that we get first to talk about what we think, what we stand for, what we believe, and also you can share with us. Because sometimes being such a big company like we are, we are also not perfect, and communication not always flows in the best way possible. And there's many good things that, for example, I never get to know. So we need to find a way that there's more of these type of forums or ways to have these camps where we can then, for example, think about doing something where you select the top 10 best, and then we just listen to their exposition of business case, and we can define, okay, how we can support them. That is something that I believe is missing. And that's the reason why when Edwin invited me, I say yes immediately, because I do believe that is more needed. And perhaps it's not just TBL. There's other businesses, there are other agencies, industries in the country that are also share the same values as us. Why don't create a platform where we make all these ideas visible to them?
And I think that's a very major big call today, to understand that TBL and BNP in general, it's actually active, since we also have our people here from innovation ecosystem, we have people from TSA, we have our partner there, pretty much they have taken some notes in terms of how to come up with a proposal. Good. Any question?
Hi, my name is Lucinda. I'm a features editor from The Citizen. Yeah, my question is on leadership. You mentioned the generational differences between you and the people that brought you up, and societal culture in TZ. So, in my personal observation, where business work is concerned, a lot of leaders tend to be bound by protocol and bureaucracy, and many decisions are made based on IQ. But we've seen the importance of EQ as well in making decisions. So as a leader, what are your tips to emerging leaders on balancing the two?
Okay, no, that's a very good question. And leadership is going to vary by staff and by business. And something that defines the leadership of a business is the culture, okay? Because if the culture, I'm not going to mention names, but if you have a business where the only thing that matters is results, okay? And it doesn't matter how, and they're very hierarchical in the way they operate. It's the old-fashioned way where if you want to talk to the MD, you need to ask the assistant for a meeting in 2 weeks' time. You cannot expect that the leadership style is going to be an open one, that is going to be an inclusive one. But that's not even because the MD or the management team has that style, it's because the business as a culture allows it. Okay? And something that we have learned in ABA, that we have been doing for years, is that for us to really create an inclusive leadership, where everything that I have told you is true, and I invite you to go to TBL, the first thing that you will notice is that we have no offices. Okay? I sit in a desk where everybody from my team sits. If I stand up, I can shout somebody from finance, hey, can you give me something? That informal is a meeting. If somebody wants to talk to me, they just have to walk to the area where I'm sitting. We dress like this, actually. I am a little bit dressed up today for how we usually go and we dress. But we believe that first, we have a business culture of open office, which means open communication. It means no hierarchies. It means that we are very ambitious, we want to drive results, but it's not just the result, it's how you get to the results, so what we call the what and the how. And going back to your specific question around EQ and IQ, I strongly believe that IQ is becoming less and less relevant, and EQ, emotional intelligence, is becoming more and more important, especially in a world where our employees, our consumers, our stakeholders have different needs, and it's changing. Even the values as a human being that my parents had are not the ones that I have today, and my kids will have different ones. And COVID, the pandemic, did change us, and we need to understand that now there's things that are more important, and definitely we're still not a perfect organization. I can promise you that I might have still managers sitting, I don't know, in a Maya, in a warehouse, that might be still shouting to their employees when they don't know how to manage the pressure. But it's something that we are working to cascade down these leadership styles so everybody behaves like that. But start with the culture, with the symbols of how we work, how we operate. We try to be very flat, because then that conveys the message that we are all equal. Yes, we might not equal because there's still a hierarchy around the decision making, but to send a message that we value inclusion, we value your words. You have heard how much I said about listening to people. And when I say listening to people, sometimes I have the answer already. I already know what is the decision, but I still go through the exercise of asking, because I want to get buy-in, and I want to get people to feel included. So, but creating this culture and anchoring this type of style takes time, because there's people that are naturals, and there's others that don't, and we also need to respect that. Thank you.
And yeah, EQ is really something major now. So, hope you got the answer. Any question from the audience?
Good evening. I am Tayanika. I work with the World Food Program. And first, it was refreshing hearing your conversation. I've learned my own share of stuff, so thank you for that. But also, I'm interested in knowing, I know TBL at some point in the value chain works with smallholder farmers in the production of sorghum and all that. I would like to know, what are the ways that you're supporting innovation in agriculture? Thank you.
There are many ways. Actually, we are having next week in the Hyatt an event where we are launching a report. We did a report about the impact of our farming projects in the farmers, in the communities where we are, and where we're trying to measure how successful we are. This is the baseline report, and we're going to run the same report 2 years from now to see the evolution, because we see some good results, but I'm not happy. We want to be 90-100% on where we are. But that report has helped us to understand a lot of gaps that we have around farming. And if I talk specifically around innovation, for example, first there's the normal innovation, which is helping our farmers which a lot of them are illiterate. But being illiterate doesn't mean that they don't know, they're not smart. Because they have not been able to get the same privilege or access to education that we have. Okay? So we first need to help them to understand that science is important, even if we have a small acre. The way we manage the plot, the type of seed, the irrigation, the process. So there's a lot that we're trying to do to support them. Once we have contracted farmers, so there's a big milestone of work around innovation that might not be innovative if we want to see what the farmers in Brazil are doing. But it's definitely innovation to what our farmers in Arusha are doing, for example, okay? Then the second thing that we also are happy to start pushing into is the introduction of an application that is called BankQ, which is basically, it's like, once again, blockchain. So a different example of blockchain in an application, which its main purpose is to give a two-way communication channel with the farmer, so we can control the price that the farmer is being paid. Because one of the biggest issues was that they were exploited and then usually will not get paid the price that we negotiated with the aggregator. Now we know every farmer how many acres of different crops they have. We know based on the week how big or not should be. We can communicate with them and give them tips around the irrigation, what type of pesticide they need to use, things like that. I'm not a technical. With that information today, a farmer can show traceability to a bank or a microcredit institution and say, this is how much I'm worth. You might see me, I'm poor, I might not have even shoes, but I have a plot back then in Tanga where I have X amount of acres of barley that I'm going to sell in 4 months to TBL based on this contract number, so can I get access to microloans, which before having that application, they were inexistent. They would not even be allowed to get into that bank agency. So there's just one example of how you use technology innovation to help, once I said this before, democratize. Technology has democratized the access to knowledge, it has given voice to people, and especially we see in the farming area, there's a lot to do, but there's still a lot of gaps. For example, BankQ is an excellent app, but because we have connectivity issues, the reach is not yet where we want to be. We want to, there's still issues around getting everybody to use it, to understand the benefits. But we're there. We are starting and we're going to be resilient around it. Thank you.
A follow up on that, I just have, I wish to know if the report is going to be publicly online. The report you're about to launch.
Yes, I guess, yes. Everything that we do will be public. We're having this event next Thursday, and then we will be, of course, one of the key things about being a public listed company is that everything we do is out there. Sometimes more than I want, but it's good. It's what a corporate citizen needs to do.
Because your competitor will learn from your report.
Of course.
You do the work for them.
We're not afraid.
Hi, my name is Edwin Bruno, founder of Malaysia, one of portfolio company at SmartWork. So, TBL is one of the most profitable company in our country. We all know that. But I'd like to understand how do you reach at or making decision of improving the products. How do you collect feedbacks at TBL based on products, so as to know that maybe the customers, this product is not being satisfied or satisfied enough. I'd like to understand. Okay.
Thank you. When you mean products, you're talking about our brands, our beer brands in the market.
Yes.
Okay. How we collect feedback from consumers.
Yes.
Okay. There's several ways. Okay. So first of all, you need to be out there. Okay. So you need to be out there understanding and asking questions. So there's no better moment of truth that when you go on a weekend or in the night to a bar, to a restaurant, and you sit and talk with consumers. That's the best way to get feedback. So for example, we have launched 4 new innovations. We know that, first of all, we took 1 year and one of them even 2 years to develop because we did a lot of research to be sure that whatever we were launching was going to be something that the consumer previously told us that they wanted. And how you know that is by informal feedback, like me going and talking, but also formal feedback, research, focus groups, surveys. We have a lot of people in the market. We have 55 telling agents that are every month phoning more than 22,000 retailers. So we're getting feedback all the time, and we gather that information in a scientific way and start understanding. But we talk to our people, the sales rep, the employees, because our employees are also consumers. Our sales reps are also consumers. So the people that work in the brewery, they're also consumers. And it's a process because we need to then, as any business, you get a lot of ideas. Because ideas are for free. We're always full of ideas. But now, once you get ideas, then you need to start prioritizing them based on how big is the idea, what is your capacity to win. Because there might be an idea that is great today, but my capacity, my capability to make it a winnable idea today might not be present. I might need technology that I cannot afford only until 3 years from now. So there's a whole process of prioritization because resources are limited. So my decision making is always based on how big is the idea. It's something that is not just for today, that is going to grow in the future. How this is fixing a problem in the market. I'm going to give you an example. We launched recently a flavor with flying fish. We know that in the market, the cider market is only 1% of the beer market. Only 1%, very small. But why? Because the only other brands that were available are imported brands. Usually the price that these imported brands are sold to a consumer is 3,000 to 4,000 shillings. But 25% of consumers in research have told us that they do like a sweet flavor. Okay? And if you think there's 50% of consumers in this country that are females, and they don't like beer, but they will be willing to have something close to beer that just has a sweet palate. Okay? So knowing that, then we launched this brand, which is fulfilling a need of a sweet beer. We launched it at 2,000 shillings. Okay, that is half of the price of the imported packs. Yeah, might be more expensive than other beers, but it's clearly triggering that target that today is not drinking our beer. So going back to your question around how you make the decision, there's a lot of thought, there's a lot of research, there's a lot of going out and understanding, but there's a lot of science because if we could do everything that we have in our pipeline, we then probably will be doing things that fail. We rather try to focus 1, 2, 3 big things per year, but then we do it right. We do it with passion and we do it with focus. And we also need to be humble to accept that not everything is gonna do well. We're lucky. I have to say that from the 4 innovations, 3 of them are doing very well. The fourth one, not that great, but it's still early days. And we might have to take a decision in a year's time that we release one and then we bring something new. Yeah. But that's how the decision making comes. It's accepting that never get attached to something. Learn also to let go. That's also, again, to entrepreneurs. It's something is not working, then move on to something. To another project, another idea. Don't get too attached.
So you have to use science, your emotion, your science. You might love it, but your customer doesn't love it.
Hello, my name is Edwin Bruno, and I work here at Smart Farm. I heard you said you check your information through Instagram. Just wanted to know, do you use any other sources to be informed, like credible sources? You know, social media sometimes can mislead. Do you use any other sources, maybe media channels, like TV, radios, or do you found a report in your desk talking about?
I do get reports, so we have market research, I get links where I can read the news, I read the news. Why I use Instagram? Unfortunately, I don't speak Swahili, so a lot of information that is out there in the market is in Swahili. I'm trying to learn, but pole pole. My learning, I'm not that talented in languages. So Instagram gives me something that is unique. In Instagram, I see images and I see places, so I don't really need to understand what they're saying. I just need to, because what I'm really looking for is how many times my beers are being tagged, in what type of occasions, but which type of consumer, which group age is this consumer, which gender is the consumer that is tagging like the beers based on what my assumption is. So that's what I use it, but it's not that it's the only source. No, I would be very naive.
Israel, you can tell us about unveiled. It's okay. You can tell
you know that TBL is one of our clients. You are using papers of corporate. No, but your people are using, and we have English newspaper, right? That's a Citizen.
Yeah, I'm a avid follower of the Citizen. Actually, I have a complaint because when you see news there and then you click into the web that is linked into Instagram, it's not always updated. It takes like 1 day to be updated. So the news that is posted sometimes is faster than the online version.
So now that's the solution. That news is on the hard copy. So hard copy, you go through in paper, you read it. Yeah, so that you pay, so that they make money.
Probably that's the issue. I have an issue with paper.
That's going to give you on soft.
Yeah.
We'll subscribe you. Yeah. Make sure today you download it. Yeah. Any additional questions?
Hello, my name is Noel James. I work here at the city. I'm just going to ask a human question. Like, you have so many children in terms of the brands that you take care of. Yeah. But I have my favorite child. So if I were to meet you out there and say, hey, Jose, what are you having? What will it be? That's the first one. The second one, you talk about always thinking ahead in terms of anticipating the future. You've talked about flying fish, which did well at launch and even now it's still well. So I'm looking at 2023, 2024. Are there plans to bring in more brands into this market? Say Bex or probably just big Stellar Tour, because we saw the King of Beers did so at that point in time. So are you still thinking of something when it comes to that stage?
Okay. If you ask me, I always have two questions. So two answers around what is my favorite beer here in Tanzania. If my favorite beer is Kilimanjaro, but especially a Kilimanjaro in draft. But there are not many restaurants yet that are offering a draft option, like a Kili that is served from a cake. Okay. If I don't get that, I will get a Castle Light. That's always, I like lighter beers. But in reality, the real truthful answer is my favorite beer is the one that is cold. The first thing that I learned was Passato Sana and then went Baridi Sana. And I put a lot of pressure on the team because what is called for me, unfortunately, is not necessarily what is called for our consumers. And that's a big learning also that I need to accept. That in East Africa, like in South America, we really like beer below 2 degrees. And here we don't really find it. So but my answer will be either Kilimanjaro, the first option like Castellar, but whichever is cold. And then on the innovations, we're just starting. So we have a process of 24 months to stabilize an innovation. So we are very happy with Limelight. Actually, it's doing very well. I really also enjoy Limelight a lot. Nowadays, I'm drinking more Limelight than Kilimanjaro because it's an innovation. Also, I need to be walk the talk. But Flying Fish is doing well. We also have Safari Double Malt, which is, but I actually like it a lot, but it's only available in the south, in the Bay. And we just 3 days ago launched a new pack. This is not a new brand, but a new pack for Eagle. More for the rural area, it's in the northeast. For now, we're gonna keep bringing innovations. Actually, we have already launched 4 in beer, and we're gonna stick with those 4. And now we need to give them breathe, a space to breathe, to see how they run. Also, as kids, you need to support them to see which one is gonna be stronger. But we're gonna bring innovations, for example, around cognac. Also, TBL also owns TBL, and there's new news that are gonna come on that front, and we're gonna keep bringing. I always try to keep things confidential, but what I can say is that we're gonna keep bringing things. Not really thinking about bringing like a Stella Artois. I personally like it, but I do see that we still have a lot of work to do with Corona and Budweiser. Now, with the World Cup, we're gonna see an opportunity to reignite Budweiser. So probably, doesn't mean that we're not gonna bring imported, but we have so much with our local portfolio, the one that is produced locally, that we're gonna focus on that. And especially with the cost of raw materials of production are too high. We can bring imported beers, but then we sell them at a very high price that a consumer cannot afford. So then we're not that interested in that for now. Thanks.
Thank you very much. My name is Larry. I had a question around, it's like a trend right now that everyone is trying to find a way to combat climate change, especially the issue of carbon offsetting. What I wanted to know is, does TBL have projects that are doing anything around carbon offsetting?
We do have. First of all, we have our own internal targets of reductions by country and by plant. Okay. Then, right now we're still in a very, I want to say exploratory phase, but we are running different pilots. So, for example, around biofuels, we are working. But for example, we have a project in Uganda. So we are testing first in Emarara plant. Once it's proven the concept, it will work here. But for example, not really on carbon footprint, but on water recycling. We have a project in I believe it's in Arusha or Mansa. No, but the one that around reusing the water for irrigation for agriculture for the community. So we have several things. We're looking into solar panels for the brewery. So there are different things that we're doing. Perhaps I believe that one of the things that we need to do is one day do like an open house type of webinar or event where we have our experts talking about what are we doing. It will be really I know I'm doing a terrible job explaining you what we're doing because my job is to sell beer. That's my passion and that's what I know. But if Richmond was here, he would kill me, our technical director, because they really do more than what I'm explaining today. But we take it seriously and we're seeing the impact. We're seeing this year, for example, the yields of the different crops that we're sourcing locally have reduced significantly. And we are in troubles, the cost is escalating, and this is just because of climate. Too much rain or too little rain. Too much cold or too much hot. And it's crazy, it's really, and the thing is that we know that it's going to keep changing. Imagine, let's see Dar es Salaam, we are almost October, and it feels like a July. It's not correct. So definitely, I believe we owe you that. We should do a follow-up where we invite people to explain, because we have quite a comprehensive projects that all of them sit in different milestones around carbon footprint, around circular packaging, around renewable energies, around water usage. Yeah, really those are.
Okay, so if there is one last question, we can take that.
Good evening. My name is Moses. I work for Smart Codes. One last question. Is there a moment in your work journey that you are so proud in terms of a decision you've made or a milestone you've achieved? Thank you.
I'm proud of many things. The decision that I'm the proudest, you not believe me, was when I decided to come. Like 11 years ago, when they, because I knew nothing about the continent, knew nothing where I was going, and I took as a great opportunity that was given to me, and I'm super happy of everything that I have learned, done, and achieved. But actually, I was making today a presentation. I have to present to the board in 3 weeks' time in South Africa. And I was making like a presentation of different slides of what has been my journey over the last 10 years. And then I had to go to my old pictures to show, okay, I wanted to show like where we started. And the most amazing thing that I'm proud is that so many people are in those faces, they're all happy and smiling. And there's a lot of moments where we were having awarded trophies, or we win a recognition by the government or by the company, with the team happy. That is my proudest moment. It's being able to make all my team happy and elevate the morale, because I truly believe that sometimes there's so many things, so many negative things that we might have in our environment that bring us down, and we need to be able to see that how great we are. And that's something that I try to do all the time with my team, is never allow anybody to tell you can't. We can be, we are in Africa, but we can have the standards of Europe or America. Just to give you an idea, Unveiled Brewery is our best brewery in Africa, and it's top 20 in the world. And it's in Unveiled. We have 4 breweries in total in Tanzania. Our 4 breweries are number 1, number 2, number 3, and number 5 in Africa. So that's amazing. So those are my problems. Thank you.